Okay, and we're recording. How you doing, Dill?
Oh, good.
Nice, cozy, rainy day. Have you picked the questions we'll start with? I'll pull up Instagram Live for those lucky people on Instagram. Malumin with the plan. Stan. Go live. Hit us with the first question.
Does Maggie poop twigs? She always gnaws on sticks.
Good question. What do you think, Dylan?
I don't know. I've never seen twigs in her poop. She eats like what we eat, beans and plantains.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah, she does chew on a lot of sticks. And yeah, of course, there's some stick fiber in her poop, but I've never seen it be a problem. You know, if she eats something weird, you know, I've seen it in her poop. If she, like in Mexico when we were biking, if outside of a tortilleria there's like a bunch of corn grounds and she starts eating it, I'm like, no, she won't be able to digest that. And then her poop for like a day is just like tons of corn. But nah, the sticks, I don't think she eats too many of the sticks, just grinding them with her teeth. Next question.
How's Buckley and the fam doing?
Buckley is doing great in the non-existent heaven. Buckley died when I was in Campeche, Mexico with Alyssa, who also died. Death is inevitable, and it's great. It just is what it is. Buckley, my family house dog of my parents that I grew up with too. Yeah, he died like a year and a half ago or something or 2 years ago, who knows at this point, when I was biking in Mexico. And who else did he ask about?
The fam.
The fam is doing just fine. My family's caught up in Los Angeles and the LA lifestyle, Corona, lockdown. It's the life you chose. You guys are privileged, so I'm sure you're doing better than most people. Well, I know how they're doing. I talk to them all the time. But yeah, they're just living the LA thing, doing it, seeing each other, my family, so that's cool. They're doing just fine.
Will you use imploded water on your farm?
Sergio, I love you. You're the man. I think you asked me that
feel like
weeks
he asks
ago,
that every
and I
time.
don't know what the fuck that means. But I just dug a 120-foot well on my land so that we get unlimited free water filtered by Mother Earth on the land. So is that imploded? I don't freaking know.
Maybe he means imported.
Definitely doesn't mean imported. That doesn't make sense. More questions from Instagram, Dylan.
How many acres is your land?
Right now I own 3 acres here in Costa Rica, and I'm trying to buy another 3 that's connected to my property, so it'll be 6 acres, I think, in the next few months, but right now just 3 acres. I'm getting through these fast.
How do you get over the fear of speaking a new language?
Okay, so when I biked into Mexico, I had pretty bad Spanish, didn't know much, and there's no fear. What is there to fear? You grew up speaking a certain language, you go to another country that speaks a different language, people understand that you don't know their language, and you slowly learn their language until puedes hablar como yo. Cuando vives por muchos años en un país que habla un idioma diferente, poco a poco, cuando practicas con gente, pueden hablar el idioma nuevo. En algunas veces yo fui a viajar en un país como Tailandia o Malasia, Laos, y yo no traté a aprender ese idioma. Y cuando estás viajando en un país cuando saben nada de su idioma, usa sus manos, usas Google. So I don't think there's any stress around. I mean, you don't need to have stress. That's up to you. What I said in Spanish just there was I've traveled through Thailand, Malaysia, Laos, China, where I know none of the language, and you use your hands, you use Google Translate, you use an app a week before and learn some language. It's like people understand that you come from a different country. and whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think the question was more like trying to say that it's intimidating to learn a whole new language for some people, which I get it, but you just gotta practice.
Yeah, how's your experience?
Yo practicando español todos los días. So, just do something every day and you'll get better at it.
Estoy practicando. Before you do a verb with an ando, like ing, you have to say I first. So that'd be estar. So yo estoy practicando.
Oh, okay.
Yo estoy viajando. Tú estás viajando. Tú estás trabajando. Yeah, see, that's how you learn.
You get corrected.
Dylan's learning online every day, and then you get corrected by your friends and the people talking, and that's how you do it. So I don't think there's stress around it. Just do your best.
What is the infamous complicated coconut chicharron recipe?
Nice. My vegan coconut chicharrones is the simplest recipe ever. We get coconuts delivered from like about 10 miles that way on the beach by this local Tico guy. He brings the entire coconut to our house. We cut it with a machete, take the water, put it in a bucket, cut the coconut in half, take out the meat with like a coconut scraper that we bought, nice thick coconut meat, also sweet water, and then we drink the water ourselves. And then the coconut meat you just cut into little squares, put a little Himalayan sea salt, or if you want it even like meatier, you can put some like liquid smoke or some like steak seasoning or something like black pepper, paprika, or cumin. I just do a little pinch of salt, and then I throw them in the air fryer, which is essentially like an oven with a fan, but you can just throw them in your oven on some parchment paper. That's it. It's the simplest recipe, but it's not practical for most of you because most of you don't have access to like 60-cent organic coconuts. You're gonna go to like your store and buy like Thai coconuts from around the world. Fuck that. So if you live in a place with coconuts, make them, but I wouldn't say it's something to like go to your store if you live in Colorado and get it. Shout out to Colorado. My sweatshirt's Colorado. But yeah, it's just baked coconut meat. That's it. Amazing.
What made you want to go vegan, and have you ever thought about going raw vegan?
I was raw vegan for 9 months one time when I just got into learning about fruit and raw foods, and it made sense to try it out. I was 100% raw for 9 months. I got tons of YouTube videos on that, I think, back in like the early start of my channel, 2014. Yeah, 2014 is when I was experimenting with raw. And it's cool. It's just not like that sustainable for my lifestyle. I mean, I eat like pretty strictly raw till 4 these days. Not strict in any like, I'm not strict about it, but these days, almost every day, I'm raw till 4, just naturally, because I love fruit. And then at night, I have my beans and potatoes and rice and steamed veggies. If you're raw, a lot of your life and week revolves around you planning on ripening things in order. I mean, out here, it's so easy. You could be raw, like just as easy as cooked. But I don't know, it's just not that inspiring to me. It's like, name me some raw vegan athletes that perform higher than the athletes that eat cooked foods. Mike Arnstein, I think, is like the only one you're gonna find. And that is a good example of why raw foods can work. Mike Arnstein's a freaking savage, even though he's in jail right now for signature fraud. I'm sure he did get out because of Corona, but he was in jail. So yeah, it's just there's not compelling enough science-based information or even anecdotal examples of people performing higher than people who eat cooked foods. And you have to eat a ton of weight and volume in food with raw foods. So like you're just going to be shitting so much and your belly's going to be full all the time. It's just, I like to eat some cooked food too.
Yeah, I think raw veganism hasn't been around long enough to get proper studies, and most modern science is based, or modern vegan plant-based science is based off of cooked foods.
Yeah, so it could be like way better for you. We just don't have science-based evidence for it yet. But anecdotally, and trust me, I'm a weirdo. I love weird people. I love out-of-the-box thinkers. a lot of the like raw food educators and community, they're nice people, but they're not the kind of people I want to be. I'm just gonna be honest. They're weird. I've met people who have like left their spouses because like
Really?
they cared more about raw foods than and that's not a dig on the raw diet. You can be a normal person and eat raw food too. I don't know, just a lot of raw food people are too weird for me, and I'm pretty damn weird. So if you're too weird for me, there might be a problem.
Yeah. A lot of raw foodists are super like airy and fairy and like
not science based.
Yeah. You know, I was raw for a while, like on and off for like 2 years, and then really serious for like maybe like 8 months, just straight raw. And it's super hard. It's like you gotta constantly be buying groceries, and it's a lot more. There's a lot more eating involved because there's a lot more calories in cooked foods.
Yeah, but I will say, if you go back to my YouTube channel, it just so happens that I was most consistent with my lifting the year I was raw, and I was bigger, stronger, lifting more weight than I ever have in my life, and it happened to coincide with the year I was a fruitarian. So you can get jacked, you can lift, I had crazy energy, sex drive was good, I was putting on weight. So when people say like, I tried raw and I lost all the weight and I was not strong, that's your problem. That's not the raw food lifestyle's problem. It worked great for me. But what made me go vegan, I think, is a more interesting question. And to put it simply, I'm sure I have tons of videos like why I went vegan if you just search on my channel. But I went vegetarian when I was 14 because I loved animals so much my whole life, and it always made me sad since I was little that when I would see a steak or chicken or fish on my plate, I'd be like, fuck, I love these animals. This sucks that I'm eating them. And my family wasn't vegetarian, so it wasn't until I was in like 8th grade that I realized, oh, I can be a vegetarian. I don't even have to ask anybody. No one has to accept me. I'm just not gonna eat animals anymore. So that's what I did, and I was vegetarian for like 5 years, and I didn't educate myself on the dairy industry, on nutrition. I literally just stopped eating meat and just ate everything else like a high school and middle school kid who knows nothing about diet or nutrition, and I was fine. I was doing great. I was an athlete, no problem. And then when I was 19 and 18, I took a gap year. I traveled the world for the first time. I went to Asia. I biked across America. And just a series of things got me interested in food and health and nutrition, probably seeing different communities around the world and how they lived. And I was in Borneo, and these like old guys who just eat rice and durian all day for real and kill like a chicken once a week and eat meat. They're like old guys climbing trees like monkeys. Wow. And I was like, this is fascinating, and that's what got me into researching nutrition. And then I found out about the egg and dairy industry, and I was like, oh shit, for all the reasons that I was vegetarian, I really should have been vegan, because there's so many animals that are abused, killed, raped, families separated in the dairy and egg industry, and that stuff just makes me sad in my heart, and I don't want to be a part of it. So I even ate meat for a few months in between vegetarian and vegan, because it wasn't only the ethics for me. I was truly interested in nutrition for the first time. And that's when paleo stuff was getting popular and keto. So I tried a bunch of stuff for like 4 months in between vegetarian and then ultimately going vegan. And the reason I went vegan is for all the reasons. I learned about the environmental impact of eating lower on the food chain, eating plant-based locally. You can't beat that. Next, I learned about the ethics. For all the reasons I was vegetarian and it made me sad to see flesh on the plate, I should be just as sad seeing meat or eggs on the plate, because those animals are being abused just as bad. And then I learned about the nutritional stuff and things like John Robbins' Food Revolution, Forks Over Knives, the China Study, David Katz's books. I mean, you can go on and on.
Cowspiracy.
That wasn't out when I went vegan. Oh yeah, I'm pre-cowspiracy, yo. That's how old school I am. I'm coming up. This August will be 8 years that I've been vegan. In a couple months. So those are all the reasons. It makes sense. In my opinion, if you're a science-based, educated, compassionate person, and you're not vegan, that means you're
morally inferior.
No, I wouldn't say that, because there's a lot of people who have tried to eat purely plant-based. It doesn't feel right for their body, and those are smart, educated people, and I trust those people who choose to eat a plant-based diet with a little bit of local animal products. Honestly, I think that is great if you think you need that for your body. I've just been killing it for 8 years as a vegan, no pun intended, so I have no reason to go back.
Yeah.
Boom. What about you? Why'd you go vegan, bro?
I just,
You never went vegan.
yeah, it's just a constant choice.
Dylan's been vegan his
Yeah.
entire life.
And, you know, even in middle school, I remember people thought it was so weird. It was such a while ago, and like, oof, it wasn't really that popular. And people thought you would die. Like, my grandparents constantly thought I was like anemic or deficient in some nutrients or minerals, and you know,
Flex form,
all
bro.
of a sudden,
Dude's getting jacked.
when you go vegan, everybody becomes like a dietitian, and they like ask if you're. They all of a sudden know everything about diet. But anyways, I went vegan because, or like I choose to stay vegan because
His dad raised him vegan. He was just
my
like a
dad
hippie.
went to nutrition school at NYU, and anyways, I stayed vegan because you know animals are living beings that feel pain
like Malu
and
Man.
emotion just like us, you know.
A pig and a cow and a horse and a chicken and an octopus is Malu.
Yeah,
I've lived with so many animals along my travels and journeys, and for all the reasons Malu is a being, he likes to jump around and bite my ear, and he's cute and he cuddles up with me. I've done that with chickens, with cows, with pigs, with all of them.
yeah,
So if you don't want me to Malu, then you shouldn't do that to a cow.
yeah. It just makes no sense, but you know, you could say that everybody has their own personal choice, but when your choices affect other beings, then it's not personal. So, go vegan and stop eating animals. That's all I gotta say.
Or at least try it, and if it works for you, great, and if it doesn't, just take it from there, but give it a try.
Yeah, for sure. Next question. What's the best and worst thing about moving to Costa Rica?
Ask me that one.
Do you ever plan on having children?